Welcome back to Sip the Salad Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to take a look at what is Mark Andrews really worth. Um, he was mentioned in the Liars Luncheon yesterday to EDC, and EDC had a unique answer. Let's take a look at what EDC said about Mark before we get into the content that I'm bringing you today.
Eric, we asked John about this at the owners' meetings, but you have made trades before with veteran players during the draft. Do you fully
I haven't, yeah.
expect, there's been a lot of speculation about Mark Andrews' future in Baltimore. Do you fully expect him to remain with the team, and is he a big part of what you plan on doing this year?
Oh man, I never know what's going to happen, Jeff, and I would never want to say this or that, but I can tell you this: Mark Andrews is a warrior, and he's played his butt off for us, and his competitiveness, his talent, his attitude, his leadership is so valued here, and he's a great player. And I think we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. So there's always a lot of unpredictability with the draft. You just never know.
The conundrum is what to do about Mark. A lot of people want him gone. A lot of people want him to stay. Some people say if they offer you something you can't refuse, take it. But DeCosta's answer was very interesting to me. So what I did was I went back and dug up like some tight end trade scenarios, and not necessarily scenarios, but things that have happened in the past to see what other tight ends have went for on the market and what should we expect if we do decide to move on from Mark. So this is the result of that research right here. First thing, tight end trade packages. The first one is T.J. Hockenson in 2022. The Lions got a second from 2023 and a third in 2024. The Vikings got a 2023 fourth and T.J. Hockenson. So the Lions for T.J. Hockenson, because they drafted Sam Laporta, they got a second in 2023 and a third in 2024 for T.J. Hockenson. So that's 2 picks, 2 different years, a second and a third. All right. Looking at our very own Hayden Hurst. We traded Hayden Hurst to the Falcons in 2020. The Falcons got Hayden Hurst and a fourth. We, in return, got a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick. That second-round pick turned out to be J.K. Dobbins. Fifth-round pick ended up being Daniel Thomas, and we don't know what happened there. But we do know J.K. All right, going further. Adam Troutman in 2023. The Broncos, got Adam and a seventh, but the Saints traded Adam Troutman away, and they received a 6th-round pick, which turned into A.T. Perry. So looking back so far on the 3 that we've done, the Vikings got T.J. Hockenson from the Lions for a second and a third. The Falcons got Hayden Hurst from us for a second and a fifth. The Broncos got Adam Troutman from the Saints for a 6th, which they turned in and receiver A.T. Perry. And the last one I found was Dan Arnold in 2021. The Panthers got C.J. Henderson and a 5th-round pick, while the Jaguars got Dan Arnold and a third. So the Panthers got a player and a 5th-round pick for Dan Arnold and a third. So that's the recent tight end movement that I was able to find. And so I went back and looked at all that because I wanted to kind of get a general idea of what Mark Andrews will be worth on the current trade market. And so this is what I came with, and this is where I want you to share with me your opinions on, whether I'm right or wrong or on the right track, or you just throw your scenarios out there as well after I give you mine. So what do I think Mark is worth? If we're doing a pick for a player, I think the highest we can get is a third for Mark. Because Mark is not, looking at these tight ends, he's better than T.J. Hockenson. I think he's better than Hayden Hurst. Definitely better than Adam Troutman and Dan Arnold. And T.J. Hockenson went for a second and a third. Hayden Hurst went for a second and a fifth. But both of those picks had a player and another pick involved. So don't just think it was just that person for two different picks. I think Mark couldn't get us a third back. Now, if they want to go Mark for a player, like instead of trading him for draft capital, they trade Mark for a certain kind of player, I would say that player would have to be an interior defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. So that's the way I feel about it. If we get rid of Mark, if we do decide to trade Mark for whatever reason, on draft day, somebody makes you an offer that you can't refuse, the highest pick I think we can get for him is third. If somebody gives us a second, that'd be great, but realistically, I think the third is the highest. And then as we do it for a player, the player coming back needs to be, in my opinion, a interior defensive lineman or an offensive lineman. And that's how I feel about, Mark and what EDC said about him. And so I'll just play that again, what EDC said about Mark right here at the end.
Eric, we asked John about this at the owners' meetings, but you have made trades before with veteran players during the draft. Do you fully expect, there's been a lot of speculation about Mark Andrews' future in Baltimore. Do you fully expect him to remain with the team, and is he a big part of what you plan on doing this year?
Oh, man. I never know what's going to happen, Jeff. And I would never want to say this or that, but I can tell you this. Mark Andrews is a warrior, and he's played his butt off for us. And his competitiveness, his talent, his attitude, his leadership is so valued here. And he's a great player. And I think we're in the business of keeping as many great players as we can. So there's always a lot of unpredictability with the draft. You just never know.
And again, man, I appreciate you guys for coming out. This is Coach Evans with another episode of Sip the Talent Films. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see y'all soon. Don't forget about the deep cover draft bracket that will be out soon. Make sure you look out for that. And if you have not subscribed to Deep Cover Podcast, go do that because we'll be recording that soon. Peace, y'all.